Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Fenixx, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for the full moon in Capricorn on this July 3rd of 2023. Definitely appreciate you all joining me in this video. I know I'm a little late to get into this because the full moon technically happened like an hour ago. Um, but I spent the whole day yesterday just resting and relaxing, chilling, not really doing much. And I really needed like a day like that to just chill out and relax and stuff too. So that being said, let's hop on into this one, right? So, like I said, this full moon happened about an hour ago, at least here on the eastern coast. It happened at 11 degrees of Capricorn, so 11:11. Definitely leading up to this full moon over the last week or so, you probably have been bombarded with synchronicities. Now, the thing about synchronicities, a lot of times that when we see these things like 11:11, 2:22, or how I've been saying it, that the synchronicities are going to be very fine tailored and fine tuned to match your particular frequency, right? So it's not just as simple as just saying 11:11, but the synchronicities, you probably have been noticing in them a lot more over this last week leading up to this full moon, which is going to be this culmination point, this sort of release point, if you will. Generally, full moons are all about releasing, but not even so much that. They are a major reflection point and kind of showing us where we currently are, where our current state is, where our current frequency is, where we are vibrating, right? So, being that this is at 11, which is this number, and which is this interesting number because it is the first time that we get repeating numbers, right? Whenever you're counting, unless you count double zero, but generally you don't. Generally, you go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you get that second placeholder with the 1 and the 0, and then you get 11. So that's what makes 11 such a powerful number, is because it's the first time where you get like this bam bam back to back. So in many ways, it does represent. That's why people freak out whenever they see 11:11, because they're like thinking, "Oh wow, so like there's something going on here." Generally, whenever you see these numbers, a lot of times we can use them as confirmation bias. To be fair, but what you really want to do is just pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to where you are, pay attention to you know what's going on around you and stuff like that you know and also just see it as a sort of message from the universe that you are on a particular path. It doesn't necessarily have to mean like it doesn't necessarily mean that you are on like the best path, or that you are vibrating at the highest frequency. It's just merely giving you this opportunity to become lucid and to become aware of where you currently are. That's the thing about this. Now, being that this energy is in Capricorn and Cancer, remember what I said, Cancers are the werewolves of the zodiac. So this is all about realizing what we have become, essentially. Who we are right now, and what aspects of that we are right now. Are there any aspects of who we have become that we need to release? Now, we're going to, of course, see the moon also oppose Mercury today, and it will square Chiron as well. So that's the thing about this. So it's like we have to really ask ourselves, are there any thoughts that we need to release, any thought patterns, thought paradigms that we need to release? And then, of course, can we accept ourselves for our quirks? Are we casting our quirks aside? Are we casting the aspects of ourselves that do make us unique and maybe even a little bit different, of course, and maybe a little bit austere? Maybe people don't necessarily get these aspects, but are we casting aside our gifts just for the sake of fitting in and just for the sake of fulfilling some type of standard that people before us have set? That's the thing about the whole Capricorn energy, too. Standards, you know? With this opposition right here, everyone is definitely going to be feeling this sort of tug and weird need to, in many ways, redefine what is professional to them, to redefine what is considered to be standard to them. Right now, this moon, of course, it's in the decan of Venus, which Venus, of course, we have over here, which is, it's getting separated from Mars at this point at 22 degrees, still coming off of the square to Uranus, which is actually still pretty tight, 2217, 2148. So that square is still pretty tight. So the moon, like I said, doesn't even like to be in Capricorn, much rather be in Cancer. And now I was trying to figure out, well, shoot, like, what do I do? Now, the dispositing energy of this moon, of course, being that it's Saturn, is over here at 7 degrees of Pisces. So there's certainly this element where we're trying to figure out and redefine in many ways what it is to be, I guess, professional, or what are the standards that we have, right? And now we're trying to figure out things and look to Saturn for some answers. And Saturn, like I said, she's kind of on vacation. Her 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 voicemail is full, right? So you have to like send her a text message and hope that she responds and doesn't leave you on red. That's the thing about this. It's not so much that Saturn isn't going to 100, like, it's just completely out of the picture. It's not going to help us. She's just allowing us to kind of figure some things out too. She's also allowing us to kind of have fun with this energy, because with her being retrograde, like I said, it's like going into a store and having all of these options, whereas before you have like a certain like list that you have a certain, like, maybe you have like a certain recipe that you need to follow, and you have to buy these certain ingredients. That's set and going forward. Retrograde, it's like game on. You can try and make whatever you want. Saturn is giving us the opportunity to really create any dream and make any dream happen that we want. Especially when, and the funny thing too is that, like, it's like Saturn going backwards is like she's kind of like resting, and then Neptune going backwards is like Neptune's like actually kind of like awake. Like, so it's like, it's what's weird about it is that if you think that things are crazy now when it comes to the world, politics, news, crazy events, we haven't seen anything yet. We really haven't seen anything yet. Like, over the next year and a half, we're going to see some of the craziest, wildest, way out there stories that will put the last 3 years to shame. That will just like make the last 3 years seem elementary. That seems pretty intense, stuff like that. So, like, how do we maintain our peace through all this? Because that's one of the interesting balancing acts of this whole last 3 years, is that we've all have gone through so much. We all have been inundated with so much information. We've all have been whether the information was perceived to be constructive or destructive. We all have been inundated and flooded with so much, like, standard and protocol, and we had to decipher whether or not these standards and protocols really resonate with our highest good and our highest self. And we've had to swim through those areas and try and search through that fog and trying to figure out, is that really going to benefit me? So that's the interesting thing about this full moon is all about realizing what we have become up to this point, and also realizing, like, okay, take the things that work, leave the things that don't, and embrace the aspects that we haven't really been fully embracing. We're starting to realize that these are the aspects that are going to actually free us. At least here in the States, we're going into July 4th, which is, of course, this day of freedom, if you will. But that's the thing about this, is like, there's this sort of, we all are being reinvigorated in many ways. We all, I feel like, over the last week have been given some sort of clue or epiphany from the universe. And I think that generally what this is it's something that we might have casted aside because maybe we either A, didn't think that we could do it, B, just didn't have the time for it. And Capricorn is the ruler of time. Or C, it's just simply, yeah, we just doubted ourselves. For me, it's writing. And it hit me hard last night too, because this full moon, the moon is conjunct I have Uranus at 11 degrees of Capricorn, and then I have Neptune at 14 degrees of Capricorn. So literally I have Mercury opposed Neptune, and then I have Sun opposed my Uranus with the moon on top of my Uranus, and I have the North Node at 10 degrees of Capricorn. So, and it's all in my second house of value and stuff like that. So it's like, for me, like, and I was trying to figure out on myself, like, last night. I was like, well, I don't know what this full moon's supposed to mean for me. Like, I'm gonna have to get a reading from somebody. But I think, like, last night I thought about it too, and I got simultaneously happy, but also simultaneously sad that I haven't taken my creative potential to the next level, and it's all has just existed in, like, my head and in my heart, and I haven't been able to, like, really put it out there in the world the way that I want to. Why? There are several reasons for that. I procrastinate on it. I haven't created the time and the space to really engage in that, and I'm also worried about all these different standards, right? Caught up on the idea that I had to maybe write every single day in order to be a writer, or I'm using myself as an example, or I have to do these certain things in order to be a writer. When really you just create time, you create space for it. How did I create time and space for doing the astrology? Because I wasn't doing it before May 23rd. Like, I was studying, of course, but not making the videos. I found the time. I made it happen. I got the tools that I needed and put it in place to make it happen. And I got this to an easy point where my procedure is very simple. I like don't really do any editing on these videos. I use StreamYard to record, and then I share this and I talk about the astrology with you guys. It's a process that's simple and it works. And these videos only take, I mean, well, max will take up to like maybe 40 minutes or so, but that's the process. Exercising. I just go to the gym whenever I need to go to the gym. Like, I have no set time that I have to go. Like, I don't have to just go in the morning. I don't have to just go at nighttime. I go when I go. You know what I mean? My only stipulation is that I go at least 3 times a week, which last week I failed. But my only stipulation is that I go at least 3 to 4 times a week. That's it. So, for example, for me, something that I can do when it comes to my writing and that creative stuff, so I can get all these interesting characters and unique things that I'm kind of hearing, seeing in my head, listening to music that triggers these thoughts and imaginations of having them be like intros to shows that are based off of my stories. I'm talking like kind of like anime openings. I play like anime openings in my head with like music from like my childhood and stuff like that, and I see how it can easily like work together and stuff. And I'm thinking like, that seems like a fantasy. I don't know if it could work, but it absolutely can work. I just gotta put in the time and effort, and I gotta create that space for it too. So it's as simple as me just saying like, all right, every Tuesday or something, I write for an hour. And that's it. Like, it doesn't, like that. That's literally, it doesn't have like the standards that we have been given and stuff like that. The procedures that we have been given. You know, you're trying to fit yourself into a particular box of something that worked for someone else. And the reason why we get caught up on it is because we're paying attention to their success. We're paying attention to their money. We're paying attention to what they have brought into their life, what they have manifested. So if you focusing on you, you got to find unique procedure your own unique procedure to manifest and bring these things into your life. So it could be as simple as that. Say you don't have time to do something, but deep down, you know that this is the thing that's really going to give you a sense of fulfillment. Carve out some time. It doesn't have to be every day. Just because that one person is doing it every day. You have bills, you have a family, you have things that you have to attend to. We all do, right? But so long as we create that time and that space, we block it out and we keep that space sacred too. That's the other thing about this. If we keep that space sacred, then, and we do that over time, it builds up. You can take a glass and a faucet and turn the faucet on ever so slightly and have the water drip, and that cup will eventually become full and flow over. It may take some time, it may take a lot of time. It may take some patience. You may want to just either not, you may want to just turn the faucet on and just have it shoot through, but you also just never know, because like that's success doesn't happen overnight like that. You know, it doesn't just happen overnight. It's like we all, in many ways, are enamored with the idea of being an overnight celebrity, not knowing what comes with that energy. Because it's like I said, it's like you have like the cup and you have the faucet that's dripping into it, and then suddenly you turn up the pressure and the water just shoots through, and the water may even spill out before it even gets full. And that's the weird thing about this too. It's like, are you ready for that sort of like pressure? Are you ready for that sort of just, you know, quick upcomings, you know? And that can happen in life. Sometimes things happen rapidly too, you know? You never know. You could go viral, you know? It could just take off. But we also have to be okay with the drip. We have to be okay with it just this consistent action, the consistent action, the consistent action, the consistent action. My main stipulation with these videos, like initially, my idea was that I would make them the day before, like the night before. Now I'm just like, so long as I get it out. If I get it out the night before, if I get it out the day before, so be it. I'm willing to. My main thing is just to be consistent and put out a video and astrology forecast every single day. Of course, the weekends and the weekend forecast is Sunday and Saturday. I put into one video, but that's my only stipulation, is just to put one out every single day. If it gets to the point where the beginning of my day is so chaotic and the night before was so whatever, and I don't get an astrology forecast out until 5 p.m., I'll still put one out, because you're still going to be feeling these energies. So this full moon in Capricorn, like I said, we are all in many ways releasing, and we are seeing where in life we have, set particular standards for ourselves. It's all about the hard work, the attrition, the adulting. Yeah, that's the other thing about this. Like, we're going to be looking in the mirror and be like, okay, where have I grown up? Where have I not grown up? Where do I need to grow up in my life? Where do I need to be more responsible? What responsibilities do I need to release? That's the other thing about this. Are there certain responsibilities, certain things that you are carrying that you need to release that aren't actually your responsibility, or it's time for you to just move on and assume other responsibilities? What kind of pressures are you putting on yourself? What kind of image professionally are you putting on yourself? Are you doubting are you doubting certain aspects of yourself and what you can bring to the table and bring to the world market, because you're not a per se professional? Astrology is a perfect example for that. There's no like standard for astrology. I mean, you have like different schools, I guess, technically, but there's no like board exam for astrology and stuff like that. No, this astrology, in many ways, it's a very personal journey. Like anyone who's an astrologer or tarot reader or whatever, like it's a very much so like a personal journey. And then you learn more about this and stuff like that, and you uncover more. And then if you get to the point like me or something like that, then you want to bring it to other people and use this tool to help better the quality of other people's lives, or at least give them some sort of deeper understanding on how this world works and how they can move throughout this world in a more lucid fashion, to where they can actually really manifest the things that they want. So that's the thing about this. This is some of you guys, you're wondering whether or not you can enter into certain spaces. There's a lot of people are going to be having. It's going to be like a lot of imposter syndrome potentially with this full moon, and it's just. I think it's a powerful moment to release any inhibitions that we have, and to release any type of definitions that we have in our mind when it comes to what is like the standards and what's considered professional, the things that we feel like we have to do in business to succeed. There's definitely going to be a quality here, of course, with Venus and Leo, which is still wanting to be super creative and have this expression and receive this love and feel this love, and it's still squaring Uranus and Taurus, mind you, right? Which is definitely this wild card energy, and the place where in the place of value, in the place of like where we really plant our seeds and really get to the root of things, and we remain solid, So there's definitely this aspect where it's like, man, because Venus isn't going to catch up to Mars. Venus is slowing down, so it's like, man, this is definitely a reality check. Looking in the mirror of like, yo, our passions and stuff like that. How can we align these things, and how can we at the same time, be okay with potential disappointments? I think that's another thing too. Like sometimes, you know, I think people run away from the feelings of disappointment. People run away from the feelings of, you know, anxiety. They run away from these feelings of like this apprehension because they feel like just because it's negative that they shouldn't be feeling it. But we are supposed to experience the whole range of emotions. What's interesting about this Cancer season is that this is literally just a precursor to how dramatic the rest of the year is going to go. Like, believe it or not, this Cancer season is like the eye of the storm. It's like we're chilling. But once the sun hits Leo, things are about to get like super dramatic. I mean, Leo's already dramatic, but it's going to get like super dramatic. I'm telling you, the Lionsgate, it's actually a big deal this year because Venus is retrograding literally on that day or like right before. Got a lot of crazy energies. We got the nodes that are about to shift. Like, that's the thing too. This is going to be the last full moon in Capricorn with the North Node in Taurus, because the moon trying this energy. So it's going to be the last time that we see this full moon with the nodes where they are in Taurus and Scorpio respectively, with Pluto here as well in Capricorn at the same time. We're not going to see this energy again because next year when we get the full moon here, Pluto's going to be in Aquarius. It's funny, Pluto moved into Aquarius and we got like this like little sneak peek into the future, if you will. Like this like little sneak peek into the future. But we had to go back. We had to go back to the old world, and we had to realize and figure out, okay, why did this old world fall apart? What did we do? What have we learned? What are we going to do different? Are we going to do anything different? Are we going to choose to do anything different? I think that comes down to the individual. So now, of course, by 12:30, you're going to have that moon, which is going to be opposing Mercury, right? This is definitely an element where, Mercury, which of course rules the mind, it's in the decan ruled by Pluto, and Pluto happens to, of course, be here. Now, this is funny. The dispositing energy of this Mercury is the moon, which it is opposing. So it's like our minds right now are definitely tied to our emotions and kind of fixated on that. There could be a need today to communicate how we really feel today. So definitely, if there are people that you feel like you definitely need to kind of get some things off your chest, there's definitely a feeling of needing to communicate this. Now, of course, because the moon is illuminated, this can definitely potentially blow up into potentially heated interactions. It doesn't necessarily have to be heated, but definitely more of like a serious note. Now, this is also a good opportunity to really speak some healing into your life, into the universe, right? Because cancers, they love to just trying to heal the collective, whatever like that. But there's definitely going to be this element where Mercury's going to be it's going to be telling the truth, right? Even though it's a trickster energy, it's going to be telling the truth about how we feel and stuff like that. So if you have thoughts, especially with this full moon here, and it's pulling on all these energies, it's pulling on these energies, right? So like don't be surprised if you have thoughts today that may make you feel a little uncomfortable, a little uneasy and stuff like that. That may cause a little bit of apprehension, maybe a little anxiety. It happened to me last night. I got through it. I was fine. And it didn't like snowball into anything major, but it was a little uncomfortable too. I was thinking about like getting simultaneously excited about the potential in the future and what could be, but then also juxtaposing that against the now and where I am. But then at the same time, just realizing that where I am is not bad. It's not bad. It's not even lesser. It just is, you know? And I think that's the thing about it. It's like also finding what we can appreciate about where we are right now at this moment. Even having the ability to have the imagination, just simply having the imagination for something means that it already exists somewhere. It already exists. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to make that connection. You wouldn't be able to have that thought. It already exists. Now, how do you become a vibrational match for that? That is what we're asking ourselves, right? And then, of course, you have by the evening time, you're going to have that moon, which is going to square Chiron. It is getting closer, of course, to Pluto, but it's going to square Chiron as well. This is going to be at 19 degrees. So once again, I'm saying to embrace your quirks. And there's a certain quirk that you're going to be bringing to the world stage that is actually, like I said, it's your superpower. It is the thing that's really going to change the game and make a difference. It's just whether or not you're willing to accept it. Some of you feel like your quirk should be superhuman strength because, the people that have the superhuman strength seem to get all the adoration and all the whatever, but you also don't know their story. You also don't know what they go through. Your quirk could be that I don't know, your quirk could be that your fingers become like pens and you can write with your fingers or something like that. You know what I mean? And you're sitting here like that person can fly. That person has superhuman strength. That person can shoot lasers from their eyes. And all my quirk is that my fingers turn into ink and I can just like write with them. That's a lame superpower. No, it's not, beloved. It's an incredible superpower. You just haven't figured out how to use it. You haven't figured out how to apply that and where that's really going to benefit you, right? So this is about embracing who we are, embracing our quirks, embracing ourselves for the uniqueness of who we are, flaws and all. Flaws and all. That's really what this is about. So, but yeah, I think this will. I mean, any full moon's going to be is a powerful full moon, but this one's definitely one where we are. It's in many ways it's the adulting full moon, right? But it's also the full moon where it's like we're howling at the moon. It's this werewolf kind of energy, right? So, all right, let's see what we have for the cards for today. Let's see what we have for the cards. The full moon in Capricorn. Okay, I have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Knight of Pentacles in reverse. I also have the Two of Wands upright, followed by the Nine of Pentacles upright. Yeah, I think with this is actually very beautiful. So that Knight of Pentacles, this is literally us fixated on what has worked for other people. This is us fixating on what has worked for other people and us fixating our sense of value around what someone else has manifested, right? And not seeing how we can throw our own unique spin on this. And we have the Two of Wands here. So there's definitely this element where we have a choice of what path to take. But then we culminate into this Nine of Pentacles energy, which is, there's definitely this element. It's like, wow, this whole becoming, we can literally go from being so worried and fixated on how someone else has manifested something in their life to choosing our own path and paving our own way. I'm hearing this more this isn't so much that there's even two paths. This is about paving your own way. This is about traveling down the path of standardization that other people before you have taken the path of least resistance, right? Or to actually pave your own way and to go somewhere where no one else has ever gone. And if you go that way, you're going to receive this Nine of Pentacles energy, where it's going to actually be you that people are going to start to copy. It's going to be you that people are going to start to really look up to and try to actually morph their standards around what seemingly you did. But that's the funny thing. They don't know the hard work that you put in. They don't know the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into this. The they don't know the anxiety that this has caused. They don't know the potential even depression that this might have caused. They don't know the sadness, the anger, the jubilation. They don't know all of the range of emotions that you have gone through on your path to build the life that you are building. They don't know that because to them, you're an overnight celebrity. But to you, you've been at this for a while. You've been putting in the effort. You've been putting in the work and stuff like that, right? This is definitely an element. I'm gonna draw one more card. Yeah, we have the we have the card of judgment. You have the card of judgment. So yeah, this is definitely a moment where we need to cast aside this our humanly judgment. We need to cast aside that because ultimately only God can judge us, right? But this is definitely going to be this is definitely a calling. This is a call to arms. This is a call to you taking up the mantle and really like taking like that flame, that Olympic flame, and running to the stadium and lighting it on fire, and then the games begin. That's really what this is. This is a call to arms. This is a call for you to step in and become the greatest version of yourself. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be easy, but that aspect of you exists, and if you can imagine yourself having a better quality of life, it already exists. How do you become a vibrational match to that? Right? You have the X factor. You have to realize what is your X factor? What it is that's going to set you apart, right? You have the X factor. You are the X factor. I know you're probably wondering that, Jay Fenixx, how can we all be the X factor? Well, we all are unique in our own ways, right? We all are a miracle. Just the fact that we are even here is a miracle. It's an anomaly. So yes, we all have a purpose, and we all can do that X factor in our life. Now, for the Oracle card, I have, yeah, it's funny. We got the two of wands here, and now we have the card of wandering path. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. This is not talking about the destination. It's talking about the journey, right? The journey. You can get so caught up on the destination, what it is that we want, what it is that we want to achieve, the things that, the big house, the nice car, the relationship, right? The career, the job. We can get so fixated on what we feel like the destination is, but life continues after we reach that point too. So it's not the destination, it's just a step in the journey. We have to enjoy these steps in the journey too. Just take it step by step, day by day, and we will make it to wherever it is that we are envisioning for ourselves. But we also have to remember that once we even get to that point, that the journey still continues. So enjoy the journey, enjoy the day, enjoy the step by step, and enjoy the becoming, and enjoy these middle stages, right? And enjoy this time. Shoot, I got freaking War Turtle in here. War Turtle is my favorite Pokemon in that particular line. It's actually my top three favorite Pokemon of all time, right? Because you have like Squirtle, of course, War Turtle, Blastoise. War Turtle's my favorite of the three because he's like this cool, spunky teenager with this really cool tail it looks like a wave and stuff like that. You know, some of y'all are so focused on getting to Blastoise that you're actually a War Turtle or a Charmeleon or whatever like that. And you get the point. You're a middle stage Pokemon and you're so fixated on being that final stage instead of just embracing who you are. And that's the funny thing about it too, is that there's some things that a Wartortle could do that a Blastoise can't do that actually benefits it. So that's the thing about this. Embrace your positioning right now and where you are, because there's power there. It's a lot more power there than you realize. That is going to do it for your full moon in Capricorn astrology forecast for this July 3rd, 2023. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. And if you would like to know how these transits are affecting you personally, I do personal consultations for astrology, tarot, and oracle. The link to that will be in the description below. Y'all take care, stay blessed, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out. Sayonara.